Good afternoon, and what is a warm, bright and sunny day. It is Wednesday the 22nd of March. I've got a nice old cup of tea. And a parcel to unbox, or in fact, re-unbox, because I lost the video, so I'm going to do it again. Which is why this video is a bit out of order. So, let's slice this open, and there we go. A whole lot easier to open than previously. But what I've got in here, there's a couple of books. We've got the Children of Hakim and what's that? Rubble Redux, Insula of the Waning Moon. Now, to put this out, both of these books are available on the Jonstown Compendium in print, as you can see. And I've already done an unboxing of this thanks to my friend Neve. Very generous of her to lend this to me, but this is my own copy now. So, instead, Rubble Redux, Insula of the Waning Moon, a RuneQuest role-playing and Glorantha GM supplement for the Big Rubble. Rubble Redux, Insula of the Waning Moon. Rubble Redux, Insula of the Waning Moon is the first of a series of publications for RuneQuest role-playing Glorantha, set in the rich fantasy world created by Greg Stafford and friends. Each publication looks at aspects of one of the most iconic of RuneQuest settings, the Big Rubble, the ruins of a city in the harsh chaparral of Prax, and once a beacon of culture, knowledge, and enlightenment. But that was 1,000 years ago, before the nomadic tribes and trolls brought the old city to its knees and laid waste to Lord Pavis's so-called miracle in the desert. Based on real archaeological plans reworked for role-playing games, each publication provides a realistic and practical description of a city block or insula, with an accompanying floor plans and scenarios ready for insertion into your campaign. Whether your adventurers are working for a patron charged with bringing back the glory days of old Parvis, taking advantage of the power vacuum following the liberation of Parvis from the lunar occupation, or simply adventuring for fame, plunder and the thrill of it, all Rubble Redux opens deeper opportunities and insights for the players and the game master alike. Within Insula of the Waning Moon, you will find a full description and floor plans of the 12 buildings that make up the old Parvis city block rune, notes on the architecture and culture of the insula and its importance to the history of old Parvis, how the everyday folk of New Parvis and those hardy souls who live in the giant walls of the old city managed to make a living and survive in the hostile ruins of the Big Rub. This volume includes 4 fully statted scenarios ready to run. Thirsty work, a chance encounter with some locals leads our heroes to investigate an old well and why its water has suddenly disappeared. Lucky snake ball, curiosity may have temporarily inconvenienced the annex, but when our heroes discover snakes acting strangely, will they investigate or leave well alone? No good deed, when the head of one of the real city's families hires our heroes to track down his lost daughter, things are not quite as clean-cut as they first appear. First rule of Fight Club, a simple escort job into the Rubble drags our heroes into the dubious world of underground gladiatorial fights that may challenge their sympathies and moral compass. The Big Rubble awaits, and fortune favours the brave. May your adventures become the stuff of legend. And this is from Legion Games, via the Jonstown Compendium, and therefore published by Chaosium Inc. So, this supplement, quite a lot of background on, quite a big blurb there on the back, but inside, well, essentially the front cover, quite nicely got a sense of ruins, of ruined apartment blocks, some places where people once lived and now do again. Essentially, how can I put it, is Parvis, the old city, is a giant ruined city. It's got New Parvis abutted on the side, which is where a lot of the adventurers kind of start, and then they go out into the Big Rubble. Entrance to the Big Rubble is quite tightly controlled. You often need permissions, and adventurers sort of passes or certificates to actually get in there, certainly under lunar rule. But the Rubble itself essentially is, you think of it as an urban dungeon. A dungeon sort of essentially formed of ruined urban buildings and infrastructure and beyond, and it's infested with various creatures and monsters, and home to quite a lot of trolls. Anyway, so we open up, got the index page, or essentially the contents page, And table of contents, nice, clean and simple. Explanation of how to use the book, and of course the YGM, the caveat, your Glorantha may vary, because this is exploring an aspect of the Big Rubble that isn't official. This is non-canon, and it's not something that Chaosium is necessarily investigating, is producing itself. It does have a Parvis and Big Rubble campaign forthcoming, being written by Robert D. Laws, but this is not part of it. But that doesn't mean that it's not. It's not. There are not similarities between the two. You can easily get hold of the Parvis supplement and the Big Rubble supplement of the past and run that using this, or you can wait for the new content and run it with that if you wanted to. There will be, essentially, because it's set in the same location, you can sort of like, you know, plug and play supplements like this into your RuneQuest campaign, and you wouldn't be that far away from you know, what Glorantha canon is as we speak. So, I mean, that's the big advantage of the Jonstown Compendium, is that you do have a lot of material that's written by knowledgeable authors, so that it is, if not canonical, it is very near. So I'm just going to make some, take another sip of tea, drying out here. Yeah, definitely need that. So what have we got inside? We've got what is an insula, and then discussion what that is, an old Parvis insular culture and what life was like before, and presumably what it is now. And then we talk about the Mastali system. One of the key factors in the rapid construction of both the building of the old city and the new Parvis was the mathematical system used by the dwarves of the Flint Nail cult. So it's very regular. It's going to be very regular and organised. So this, you know, general insular design is covered, roads, water provision, pavements, all very well civilised, if you will. Drainage and sewers, insular spirits, that sort of thing, and then building design, including building materials, building finishes, lighting, building levels, all to bring it to life. And then we've got a timeline of the Rubble and where this fits in. Building phases, essentially tracking how the building, was originally constructed, and so on. Its history back then, nature of the settlements, types of ruins, and how the inhabitants make a living today. So, almost what you could do if you wanted to, you could take this as inspiration, create your own insula, and have the player characters be inhabitants of this city or ruined city block, trying to make the best out of their situation, and you know, making lives for themselves and their families. You could run as sort of like a soap opera, if you will. So even got a section here on choosing the Rubble life, the life in the Rubble. Then we've got the first of the floor plans, and these are quite extensive. They remind me sort of like a little bit of the Dungeon Floor Planners box sets that Games Workshop did back in the day. They have that look, and this is sort of like further evidence by when to actually get into looking at individual departments and so on. So they do, the maps themselves are clear, simple, easy to read, but they're not very, it's not they're not very interesting, it's sort of like, you do feel they could have a little bit more detail in terms of like furniture and sort of like fittings, especially given that people are living there. We've got a shop, and again throughout you've got these nice pieces of artwork, you know, of rubble and ruin, which give you a feel for what the rest of the landscape is around this insula. So we've got a shop, and you know, an oil store depot complete with sunken pits into which you have clay pots sunk into the ground, carter's yard. Sunken garden. So all very sort of like cultured and sort of like lovely amenities, if you will. Then we get into the scenarios, the first of which is we've got an overview before we have the setup for sort of thirsty work. And these vary in length. So on, this is just a few pages long. Then we have Lucky Snake Ball. And each one you're going to have sort of like general pointers. Ending with a payoff, you've got a list of all the adversaries involved at the end of the scenario. Basically, so in, you know, we've got a bunch of rubble runners in Lucky Snake Ball, and then we've got No Good Deed. This is a bit more detailed. There's some investigation involved. Bit of a deal. Then we've got details for sort of the location for it, the denouement, summary, payoff, and then the NPCs involved. So there's quite a few pages of NPCs for this one, so it's a bit more complex. And yeah, so actually several pages of NPCs for this one. Then first roll of Fight Club. So, you know, you've got an event which the player characters can go to, get involved in, might end up fighting themselves. Description of the area and the payoff depending upon the outcome. There we go. And then the adversaries involved. Quite a few of those. Yeah, quite a lot of those. And then essentially, a bit of a background on the Jonstown Compendium, some of the items that got on sale there, like the companion volume to Rubble Redux, Insula of the Waning Moon, which is Insula of the Rising Sun, Duck Pack, source book about ducks, and then Legion Volume 1 of the Hoofcraft Codex, which is a Chaos NPC supplement containing lots and lots of brew, and a couple of other supplements there as well. So yeah, that is Rubble Redux, Insula of the Waning Moon, a location, and in the big rubble, and several scenarios built around it to involve the player characters in its comings and goings. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below, and of course if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And of course, lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a package containing a book or game which I'll unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing the Nook. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.